Hello Classic Crew, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be answering your comments on my modesty video. So a few months ago, I did a video called Why You Should Dress Modestly, and I got a lot of views on that video and a lot of comments, and I thought it would be fun to respond to some of those comments here and respond to some of those concerns here. So some of it's going to be a little bit funny, a little bit sassy, but some of it is going to be serious too, because this is a topic that a lot of people have a lot of questions about, and I want to answer them as honestly as I can. But before we get into that, I really want to thank Nord Green for sponsoring today's video. Nord Green is a Scandinavian watch brand based in Copenhagen, Denmark. The watches are designed by Jacob Wagner, who was a former designer at Bang & Olufsen and Hay. They reached out to me to ask if I would be interested in taking a look at their watches, and I saw this navy watch and I just about lost my mind. You guys know how I feel about navy. Navy's my favorite color, and I thought that this watch was absolutely stunning, and I have absolutely loved wearing them. They come in a few different sizes, so that's number one. Number two is they are so light. I can't believe how light this watch is and how comfortable. So lovely to wear just every day. It's really easy to change out the bands. So they have a bunch of different bands you can choose from, and they've created a design where you don't need to use a screwdriver or anything like that. You can easily switch out the bands. It is just fantastic. I was so excited to get this in the navy blue, and then they also sent me a gold band, and it is so stunning. I just love the look of it, and it really is so classic. These watches are ethically made in Danish-owned union-certified factories, and they have eco-friendly packaging, which is great. They have a giving back program with global NGOs, and customers can choose one of 3 causes that Nord Green supports. Whenever you buy a watch, they will give back to one of those 3 causes. It's a timeless, simple, and minimalistic style, which I absolutely love, and I think you guys will love it too. So today, Nord Green has given me a 15% discount if you use the code ABBY in all caps, and you guys can get 15% off your purchase with Nord Green. So I've got the link in the description box below. Please go ahead and click that if you are interested in purchasing one of these beautiful watches. I love it so much, and of course, you guys know I would never recommend a product to you guys that I didn't try out myself and absolutely love, and this one is really beautiful. So go ahead and check out Nord Green today. So thanks again to Nord Green for sponsoring this video, and let's get into it. So what I noticed when I was going through the comments on my modesty video was that most of the questions sort of fell into 4 categories. So what I figured I would do is I would actually just address each category, and then I'll just splash a bunch of the comments on the screen and you can kind of see them for yourself. So the first category I want to talk about is the comment that I made in the video that men are visual creatures, not emotional ones. Let me clarify that because it did come up quite a bit in the comments. When men and women meet for the first time, among the first things they're going to notice about each other is their looks, and this is even more particular for men. Both men and women are attracted to each other and attracted to each other's bodies, but men and women aren't symmetrical in that attraction. Men and women's sexualities are just different from each other. I have 2 studies that are both very good examples of this, and I'll link them in the description box below. Russell Clark and Elaine Hatfield ran a study on a campus, on a college campus, and what they did was they had an average-looking female student walk up to young men on that campus, and this young woman just said, "Would you like to go to bed with me tonight?" There were 3 answers that the men could respond with, and 75% of those respondents said yes. Said, "Yes, I would like to go to bed with you tonight." Not knowing anything else about this girl, not knowing anything else about her personality, said yes. They then flipped it, where they had an average-looking guy go up to young women on campus. 0% of women said yes. What does that tell you about female and male sexuality? It's different. It's just different. In another study, there were 88 friends, male-female friendships on a college campus, and they separated the friends. They put the boy in one room and the girl in the other, and the men were much more likely to be attracted to their female friend than vice versa. And the men were also more likely to think that their female friend was interested in them, as opposed to the other way around. So men's sexuality is different than women's. These studies prove it, but of course it's kind of obvious. Men's sexual intent can be triggered just by a physical attraction, but women being physically attracted to men often is just a piece of the puzzle when it comes to how that relationship would move forward. And here's the thing. We want men to be attracted to us, right? It's important. It's important to romantic relationships, and it's empowering. But here's the thing that's not always going to work. We want control over who's attracted to us and when someone is attracted to us. Think about this scenario. If you're out at a party and a guy is across the room and you think he is very attractive and he kind of looks over at you and makes eyes at you, you're going to be happy that he's interested in you. But now think of that exact same scenario when it's a guy that you're not interested in at all, who you think is a creep, and he's looking over at you. You're not going to be happy in that situation. But here's the thing. You don't get to choose who's attracted to you. And context and content for attraction is everything. And when men initially meet you, if you are dressed in an immodest way, they are going to be contending with the distraction of your body and wanting to know if maybe you are interested in a one-night stand, as opposed to getting to know who you are and your personality and look further into the future than just that night. And look maybe further into the future to see if there's a possibility of a relationship. They're not going to be distracted by that if you're dressed more modestly. Now, not 100% of the time, but it is more likely. You want a guy to get to know who you are, not just what you look like. And in a situation where you're not looking to date, where maybe you're in a professional setting, you are creating a scenario and a context where they might be distracted by your sexuality. And men that you would never want to view you that way are now brought into that context. Now, if a guy meets a girl who he's not initially attracted to, but he hangs out with her a bunch and ends up really loving her personality, then he may find himself attracted to that woman, and it's because men aren't only visual creatures. But when you are trying to make an initial first impression, distracting a guy with the way that you're dressed by being immodest is not going to work to your advantage because he's not going to be able to get to know who you are while he's distracted thinking about just the physical aspect of your relationship. And I do want to say that none of this is meant to imply that women who dress a certain way are responsible for a man acting in a horrible way and taking advantage of them. Not at all. Men have self-control and they shouldn't act that way. That's disgusting. But what I'm talking about is women attracting the attention that you deserve and you want. A relationship-based attention versus a sexual attention that is much more fleeting. So that is the answer to part number 1. Let's move on to category number 2. I dress this way for myself. Okay, so here is my response to that. How often do you dress sexy when you're at home alone? And I'm not talking about taking a picture of yourself and sending it to somebody or posting it on social media. I'm saying literally no one is gonna see you that day and you are dressed sexy. People are social. We want people to notice us. You want people to see you. You can want to do something for yourself because of how you appear to other people, because that will affect how you feel. But if you're not hanging around in sexy clothing by yourself with no one else to see you, you're not really doing it for yourself when you go out, because most women hang around in what's comfortable at home. Now, not 100% of women, but most women do. We wear something that's more comfortable when we're at home. But even outside of that, let's say that you are somebody who wears sexy clothing when you're at home alone. Why do you want to feel sexy? Why do you like the feeling of sexualizing your body? Is it just because it's nice? No, it's because you want to feel confident that you are sexy. And being sexy isn't something you feel in a vacuum. Of course it's not. Feeling sexy is important because it can influence the people around you and hopefully only the men that you want to attract. Now, I do want to address the idea of getting dressed every day during quarantine. Maybe you do decide you want to wear something sexier at home, but that is not the norm, right? We dress up every day while we've been in quarantine because we want to preserve a sense of normalcy. But in a normal day-to-day life, we're not going to be wearing clothing that is not comfortable at home. That just doesn't generally happen. But even outside of all of this, dressing sexy for yourself isn't relevant because it doesn't really matter what your intentions are. You are living in the world and there are other people around you. If you smoke in a public area, you may not intend for everyone else around you to have to breathe in your secondhand smoke. But it's going to happen. It's just kind of part and parcel of it. And so your behavior, which includes the way that you dress, may not be for other people, but it will affect other people because other people are going to see what you're wearing and it's a distraction. It is. It's just human nature. Now moving on to topic number 3, which is I'm not disrespecting my body by dressing immodestly. So here's what I have to say to that. When I say that you're disrespecting your body by dressing immodestly, I'm saying that you're tying your value as a person to your body and it being desired. It's really important to understand the difference between attraction to you and who you are and your body. For young women, they can crave attention and male attention, and they may end up confusing desire for their bodies as love. And it's really important to know the difference, because if you're constantly putting out your body and thinking that is love when a man desires you, then you're not going to really be giving yourself the best version of love, which is not wholly based on what you look like. Now, there are people who are desensitized to showing off their bodies or seeing other people's bodies. I'm a theater person, I know. People change a lot around each other and they don't really notice because it's kind of part and parcel of the work. Doctors are the same way. They can look at somebody's body and not immediately sexualize them. But that doesn't mean that everyone is desensitized, and it doesn't mean that everyone should be desensitized. You want there to be sexuality between men and women, and you want desire between men and women. And so kind of saying the idea that women shouldn't be sexualized ever is just not actually a good idea, because women want to be sexualized in the right context. Obviously not in every context, but in certain situations, of course you want to be desired. But the thing for women is that they want to be able to choose when they are sexually desirable, in what situation and what person finds them attractive. And you're not able to choose who's attracted to you just based on your emotions or your objective. You get to choose more so by the clothing that you wear. For example, if I want my husband to be attracted to me, I will wear something sexy for him at home, alone, where no one else can see. If I don't want a random guy on the street to be attracted to me, then I'll wear something more modest when I'm out and about. Now, does that mean that he's definitely not going to look at me? Of course not. Men are gross sometimes, no matter what. And there's a huge responsibility on men not to treat women like objects and be disgusting. But the responsibility of women is that they should be aware of the signals they're sending out, so don't be naive about what those signals could be. And they should want to send out the right signals, attracting the kind of attention that is more than just physical. The last category I want to address today is it's not my job to stop people from sexualizing me. Don't be naive about sexuality. Sexuality and being attracted to certain things isn't a social construct. We know what sort of things are desirable sexually. Dressing in a certain way not to be sexualized is, one, dealing with the reality about how men will respond to the way that you dress, because just because you intend a certain thing doesn't mean that everyone is going to accept it and agree and react in the way that you want them to. And two, it's about being respectful to the people around you. A lot of men don't want to have to deal with seeing a woman in a really immodest outfit at any time of the day because they don't want to have those thoughts in their mind. They don't want to have those thoughts at all, and it's not something you can always control with human nature. Your reactions in your behaviors, the actions that you take, of course you can control, but your thoughts, not so much. And it's unfair to expect that everyone should have to ignore your sexuality because you decided that your sexuality shouldn't affect anyone else. A good example is if you play extremely loud music on the street and you expect people not to wince when they walk by. It's human nature to respond to stimuli. So that's true for loud music, and it's true for dressing immodestly. And dressing immodestly has practical uses. It's important for women to kind of get what they really want, which is a man who's going to want to get to know who they are, not just their body. And it's also important to recognize how it affects everybody else. So it's for you and you getting what you want, but it's also for other people and being respectful. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you enjoyed the format that we did today. I wanted to be able to respond to as many kind of the ideas of the comments as I could, rather than responding to individual ones, because I thought that would just get repetitive. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments. Please let me know below. Thanks again to Nordgreen for sponsoring today's video. Please head down to the link in my description box if you would like to look at their watches. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Please subscribe to my channel and blog if you haven't already. Head over to my Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook and follow me there. Hit that notification bell to get notified of all my new videos. Hit that like button. Please head over to classicallyabby.locals.com if you'd like to support my channel, see more of this content, and be part of our community. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!